Okay, this might actually be able to be a video now. That took 25 minutes? No, not that long. 15 minutes for the game to load. That was ridiculous. Okay, let's get into this. Let's pick up this pack here. 2 food, $1. Not the worst thing that could have happened, but not great either. Obviously, the Acrocanthosaurus. Those beautiful, beautiful loyalty points. Bring them in, bring them in. Community event is Twitter. Interesting. Okay. We got Spinosaurus today. What else do we got? Anything exciting? Lots of packs that cost money. No. Morosaurus. Pterodactylus. On the Tides. Food. VIP and VIP stuff. Oh, thank goodness they got rid of all the extra advertisement stuff today. We've still got 32 minutes till the prize drop resets. So won't be doing that just yet. Let's check some trades real quick. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, I forgot about that. I opened up a card pack just before on accident when I was half asleep. We'll take that just to get rid of it. Take this guy. Take that guy. And none of this other stuff. That's from the prize drop yesterday. A little Romolosaurus. Very exciting. Feeding this bad boy up. And one more. Make it into level 30, and then we can make a level 40 with that bad boy. Let's get that guy in a hatchery pod. Just check these guys. Not yet. Not yet there either. All right. Before we get into the events today, I want to chat about goals. So, almost last week, I created a level 31 Spinosaurus. So the final version of the Spinosaurus, but with this last grading him from level 30 to level 31, had a ferocity jump of roughly 2,700 ferocity. Level 30 is 14,071-ish, and level 31 is 16,763. So what that does is it does bump up our top 3, right? So if we go into our top 3 here, we no longer have 3 Metrophodons, which had a ferocity of 14,160, which is the level 25 Metrophodon. So it's a decent jump. So it's a jump of just under 2,500 ferocity, 2,600 ferocity. But the level 31 Spinosaurus is just short. Give me a second here, folks. Cat wants out. So the Gorgosuchus at 31 has 14,141 ferocity. At level 40, it has 16,790 ferocity. So that will be just above our Spinosaurus at 16,763 ferocity right now at level 31. So technically I can bring all of my Gorgosuchuses now all the way up to level 40, and they'll be basically in line with the Spinosaurus. I can also level up all of my Metrophodons to level 30, which will be 15,846 ferocity. So it will be roughly 1,900-ish ferocity less than all of my other creatures. But if I level up my Metrophodons from 30 to 31, it has a jump of 3,000 ferocity, so it'll jump all the way up to 18,881. I don't want to do that just yet, because technically I would be able to keep everything will be able to keep pace except for the Gorgosuchuses, because they top out at 16,790 ferocity. It's just the reality of where they're going to end up at. They won't be able to go any further than that. So, but I will be able to bring my Indoraptors along with us on the journey, if you will. I can bring them up to basically level 17, which is 16,666 ferocity. And then I can bring them all the way up to level 20, which is 18,137 ferocity, once I decide to start bringing up my Metrophodons from level 30 to 31. But for now, I'm not gonna move anything just yet. Actually, what I will do is I will show. Actually, I'll bring up one Gorgosuchus. So right now, Gorgosuchuses are right here, right? So level 31. Actually, you know what? I'll also bring up a Indoraptor, level 11 Indoraptor. So if I go in and feed one Indoraptor here, so I feed this guy. So one feed level 12. So he should not have moved. I don't think anyways. Let's see. Should be still down here. Yep. Oh, where did he go? Where is my level 12? Oh, he did move. That's 14,216. Oh, is that? Yeah, that's just above all of them. Okay. Okay, yeah, so that is just above all of them, which is why I didn't level them up before. That makes sense in my head. Okay. So what I'll do is I will level... what do I want to level? Well, I guess I don't really want to bring up the entire ferocity of my team, but I can level up the rest of them to level 12, which will just slightly raise my ferocity, not by much. Because again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to keep the level of all of my creatures about the same. Oh gosh. That's not what I wanted to do. We need to go back into this pack. I have not recorded this yet for the Indoraptor Gen 2. Okay, so when we look at the Indoraptor Gen 2, it should be below the Metrophodons, if our ferocity calculations are correct. All right, so we got our 4 level 12 Gen 1s, yep, and then we got Metrophodon, and then now our Indoraptor Gen 2s have jumped up to here, ahead of the Gorgosuchuses, but below the Metrophodons. So again, this kind of just goes back to just because they're in this ranking, this order, you can't really tell by the way that the game shows you its scale of ferocity how close or how far away one creature is from another. You just can only tell that one is ahead of another. So if you're looking at this, the Spinosaurus here is like number 1, obviously, and then Indoraptors, 4 of them. But when you're looking at this, it's like, okay, that's 1, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 to get to Metrophodon. It's top 6, right? But you have no frame of reference that you can use that says how far apart those are or how close together they are, unless you're doing calculations outside of the game to kind of judge and tell where things are. And the reason why this is important is ferocity dictates a lot of your battles. So if we're looking at events for the week, so Battle for Survival is based off of park level, so that's not a problem. On the Tides, which is an underwater event, is based off of your ferocity. So we didn't change any of that event at this point right here. Earth Shattering, this is going to be based off of park level. So like if we were to go into it, it'd be a very easy battle. But these VIP events are based off of your ferocity. So depending on what you're doing with your top 3, is going to dictate how these events are going in whichever one you're doing. So today it's Jurassic, so we just made our Jurassic event a little bit harder by leveling up those Indoraptors. Tomorrow is it's like it's aquatic, so that's not going to change. The Cenozoic one on Wednesday, not going to change because it's based on the group of creatures that are battling. So our Battle Stage Infinite just got definitely harder. This is definitely based off of your top 3. Also, it typically is an event that is going to be a percentage higher than your regular events. This is definitely one of your harder events. It's going to be the same thing with Fight for Funds is going to be a lot more difficult, and apparently Fight for Funds is going to be for a Pliosaurus. No, okay, that's just a glitch. It just likes the Pliosaurus and What Lies Beneath. It's coming later in the week. And Stakeholders Visit is going to be a little bit harder. Legendary Rumble, Rarity Rumble is going to be a little bit harder. So anywhere where Jurassic events, and not all of them, but a lot of them are going to be based off of your highest ferocity creatures. And my speculation is it's your top 3. So as you increase your top 3 creatures, you are making your events harder. For the most part. Again, some of them are based off of park level, but a lot of them are based on ferocity. And so you just got to be careful as you're leveling your creatures up, which is why I've got this whole plan of where I'm trying to go from. If you go back and watch episode 100, you will see the goals that I have set for my Gorgosuchuses, which I need 6 more to hatch in order to hit that goal. And then for Metrophodons, I need 10 more Metrophodons. Obviously, that's not going to fit. I've only got 2 spots. Once I get 2 more, we'll create a level 20, and then we'll fuse that level 20 with this level 20, which will still give me 2 more spots available, and I'll be able to create another level 20. And at that point, I can make 1 more level 10, and then I'll have to start combining and raising up from level 30s to level 31s. And once I get to that point, I'll be doing Segnosuchuses before that. I can create some more here because I just fused that level 31. And so this will be the next one that I'll start working on after my Gorgosuchuses, and maybe like in tandem, because my Gorgosuchus paddock is not going to change much at this point. I can create 1 more level 31 here, which will give me 8 level 31s. I can only make 1 more after that, with the 6 that I'll be looking to bring on after those 2 are fused. So there's going to be not a lot that's going to change here, and 1 Gorgosuchus isn't going to change our lineup that much, so I'm probably going to start switching over to Segnosuchuses. I'll get those guys up probably to where I've got, because my goal is to get 6 level 31s, which will eventually become level 40s. But I don't know if I will. I'm not going to wait to get all 6 before I start making these moves up. I don't use the Spinosaurus as much. And since they're glass cannons, they have the ability to kind of overshoot their level, if you will. Because they're so strong on the attack side, they make up for a lot of lower ferocity scales, if you will. So that's updates on. So still have another 1,320,000 DNA I need to collect in order to get my 6. Almost done. To get my 6 Gorgosuchuses, my 15 Segnosuchus I still need to create, 10 Metrophodons, and I still got 12 more Indoraptors I got to make in order to get to my goals from post 100. So, but more to come on that. And we're back. Okay. So let's see. Let's get into some of these events for today. So let's do the Earth-Shattering one first. Again, not based on creature strength, but based purely on park level and caps out fairly low. This event is for folks that have just really jumped over the threshold. And in fact, I don't really have any other. Well, we do have. Let's actually not do that one yet. Let's do this one. Because this is going to be our hardest Jurassic event today. And so we might as well get this guy out of the way. And we'll go Metrophodon. Again, because this is going to be overkill. There's going to be overkill until we get to the last battle. And even this battle, the bronze battle itself, is a fairly easy VIP battle. It's only 3 battles long. It doesn't go up as high as the other VIP events where it's the silver rewards are the ones that are for the legendary packs. Those are the ones that do get a little bit harder. But really they don't get harder until the last 1 or 2 battles for the most part. Like I could have used much lower creatures here, but because of the events that we have today, there's not really anything that I'm going to need these creatures for until tomorrow. And so because of that, I don't need to use my lower level creatures. I could. There's no reason I can't. But I'm not going to use these Metrophodons for anything else today until tomorrow's events. And since they have a 1-day cooldown, or just under a day, I have no reason to hold on to them until tomorrow because I'm not going to have anything going on. And this will be the same thing for this. So I'm going to do 1 Metrophodon and a Indoraptor, level 10 Indoraptor. Again, because the creatures that we're facing isn't going to be a problem. So you can tell by the opponents, the ferocity of the group has inched up in this battle. And then it will get harder again. So the VIP events scale up. So meaning that when each battle that progresses through the event, your opponents get a little bit harder. They don't get impossibly hard, they just get a little bit harder. And if you've watched my previous videos, they have gotten probably a smidge harder than some of my other bronze events because we have raised the level of our top 3. Once you have opened an event and you've looked at the battle is frozen. But if you don't look at your opponents, the game has not set your strength that you're facing. Meaning right now, at least it's my theory, and I don't know if there's a way you can test it, because you can't know until you know. Maybe I can test it later by getting I have to do a very large ferocity jump in these because they range. But until I look at this last battle, I don't know what I'm facing. And I don't think the game has dictated what I'm facing yet. At least I don't think it has. Maybe it has. But if I was to go and level up a lot of my creatures right now, the game, when I go in to look at this, I believe is when it indexes what I'm going to be facing. Until I look at it, I don't think it has determined the matchup that I'm going to have. It's the same thing with your infinite battle stage. Until you look at the event, I don't believe that it has set your creature strength. So if we go in here and check this guy out, I think at that point it sets the ferocity. So if I was to go and back out and go level a bunch of creatures, when I come back, I'm going to still be facing these same three guys. The two amphibians, the one carnivore. At those levels, they're not gonna jump up. They're not gonna switch around. It's set now. But until I look at it, I don't believe it's set. So you got to be careful about when you are leveling up your creatures and what you're doing. If you don't time it right, you could give yourself a very hard battle that you have to deal with. It's going to be a one-shot. Build a block once. Two-shot, yeah, this will be fine. And so I'm going to be careful about the way I raise my creatures up, because I don't want to... where I'm going to run into a jam is going to be in the fuse chamber area, because all of these fuses are 8 hours to 24 hours for all my creatures now that are up in this level. And a lot of them are, 24 hours. They're bringing the tournament creatures to level 31 to 40. That level 30 fuse is a 24-hour fuse. So it just takes time. There's nothing you can do about it. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Block 1. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if he was going to block or not. I guess technically it wouldn't have mattered. If you had 4, yeah, we would have been safe still. All right, beautiful. Nothing too complicated here. So it's just, you got to be careful about the way you level your creatures, because you can level yourself into almost impossible PvE. So if you are not paying attention, because I was here, and this is the only reason why I know that this can be an issue, is if you take your Indoraptors, for example. At level 20, it's got 18,000-ish ferocity. If you're a newer player and you don't have this bench of creatures to support that ferocity, your PvE becomes incredibly hard. Why? Because events like the one we just did, or Fight for Funds, which uses Jurassic, Stakeholders Visit, which uses Jurassic, Rarity Rumble, which uses Jurassic, the mod events, which uses Jurassic, the More Teeth event, Club Tales. There's a bunch of all the VIP events. There's a bunch of events that are based off of your ferocity. And if you skew your bench to where you have an immense amount of top end strength with no bench behind it, in order to complete your events, you will have to use your top creatures. And if you have to use your top creatures all of the time, which isn't a problem, right? When you've got super rares or even rare hybrids, which cool down in 8 hours, 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours. At the younger park levels, it's not a problem if you have a skewed top end, because the cooldowns are so short that you can use them multiple times a day. Now, you won't be able to do all your events in one run unless you're using speed ups to speed up your creatures, which is obviously totally fine. That's definitely a way to play. But if you want to get all of your events done in one shot without having to pay for cooldowns for creatures, you have to have a deep bench of a similar ferocity. You can't have a big drop off. I had a big drop off. I had a level 20 Indoraptor, and then a level 10 Indoraptor, and then like nothing supporting it, because I wanted to tackle a herbivore boss event, and I was like, man, if I take my 2 Indoraptors and make them level 20, I'm gonna be able to deal so much damage to that boss. I'll be able, and this is back when they had the like 1 million, 2 million damage goals, like crazy high damage goals that you could do for boss events. And they gave Dinobucks. It was fantastic. You could win, 500, 1,000, I think up to 3,000, I think. Our frog is back. The frog is back. If you hear that in the background, I apologize. So you got to be careful. Wow, all pterosaurs. Yeah, that's fantastic. I haven't had that in a long time. You just got to be careful, because when I did that, it messed up my PvE something fierce, because it just became so difficult, because it was all geared off of a level 20 Indoraptor, a level 10 Indoraptor, and my ferocity scale that I had for my top 3 creatures was a very steep slope. It was not. I think maybe my next one was like a level 20, Metrophodon. I don't even know if I had Metrophodon at that point. So it was a very big drop off. It was a very steep curve, which is not what you want. You want a very flat curve for your top, 15 to 20 creatures. You do not want to have your creatures all crazy. In fact, if I was to graph, my top, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38-ish. If I was to graph my top 38 or 40, you would see a high point for my Cygnasuchus now that I've raised him to level 31. But then the next 37 to 40 creatures are going to be almost a flat line, because all of these creatures are just about the same ferocity. They're slightly less, which is why one follows the other one in the way that this scale goes. But they're all very close in ferocity. And then once you get to here, you'll have some step downs, and then it'll start to peter out until you get to some of these where they're very similar in ferocity. Like all the level 40 VIPs, exact same ferocity, within 1 or 2 points of ferocity, which when you're up to, I think 9,000, if I remember correctly, most of these are around 9,000 ferocity-ish. And again, this is why
VIPs become obsolete from a PvE standpoint, not from tournament standpoint. Level 40 VIPs do fantastic in tournaments. And tournaments are not based off of your creatures. They don't care what creatures you have. It is purely a preset limit for succeeding in tournaments. So you don't need to have this level of creatures to participate in tournaments. In fact, I don't even use any of these for tournaments. My tournament group really is, I don't do anything higher than really level 30 VIPs. So for my tournaments, I'm not looking at anything stronger than in here, because you just don't need to use anything that strong. I mean, you can, but I don't have to. So my PvE teams, which is all this up here, is completely disconnected from what I use for my tournaments, because they have leveled beyond what's going on there. Now, could I use them for that? Absolutely I could. I would just get very low trophy count, because the ferocity scale that it uses to give you your trophy count is aimed at a much lower ferocity to get maximum amount of trophies, get those 40 trophies, which is why I use, if we look at just Jurassic here. So if you watch my videos, I am typically using a level 30 Diplosutruses, and still have some coming off a cooldown from using them yesterday at the end of the Acrocanthosaurus. I can say it right. Tournament that just ended, yesterday / this morning. So, if you look at my little tiny scale at the bottom, because I have so many Jurassic creatures, my little bubble, really also use Prestosutruses from now and again at level 30. But everything above this is overpowered in my mindset for the way I do tournaments. I could use level 40s. I'd get less trophies. You won't get 40 trophies once you get above level 30 VIP. It starts to go down from there. So, I think here you're looking at 38 trophies. You get up here, you're probably looking at 37, 36 trophies. So it's not like it's a bad thing, but it does start to drop off. And that's just using one of these. If you use more than one, 2 of these creatures, 3 of these creatures, you're looking at, 33 trophies, 30 trophies, maybe 20, 27 trophies, all the way down to 20 trophies if you're using, creatures up in here. And I just don't need to, because all of these creatures are for my PvE events. Now, it's a double-edged sword when you are increasing your lineup. And I say double-edged sword because when you level up your creatures, you have a longer cooldown. That is just the reality. Cooldown is based off of health. So the more health your creature has, the longer the cooldown it's going to be. And depending on the type of creature, so tournament hybrids have the same level bands of health, meaning that from level 1 to level 10, there's I don't remember what the factor is, but the health of them times a factor is going to equal the amount of cooldown time that they have. From level 11 to level 20, it's a different constant, and it goes up. So the higher the level band, so from level 1 to level 10, from a level 11 to level 20, it gets longer. From level 21 to level 30, it gets longer. And from 31 to level 40, it gets the longest, obviously. And so as you fuse, you are not only getting rid of one of your creatures that you have to use, but the cooldown for said creature is getting longer. So you need to kind of level in groups. So like this level 31 Spinosaurus here, I think has a 1 day, 12-hour cooldown, somewhere around there. for that level with that health, whereas a level 30 Cygnasuchus has a less than a day cooldown. So as I bring these Cygnasuchuses up, I get to use them less often, meaning that if I need to use, let's say, 3 Cygnasuchuses in a day based on events, now that's not a problem. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 level 30s left. I could use 6 a day and it wouldn't be a problem, because by the next day they would all have cooled down by then if I battle around the same time each day. But I can't do that once they go to level 31 because it's going to be a day plus 12 hours, which means that if I use, let's say I had 6 level 31s, which is what my goal is to get to that. I could use 3 a day, but no more than 3 a day, because by the time the next events come around the next day, if I have used more than 3, I will only have, 2 left, right? So if I use 4 in a day, the next day I only have 2 available at the beginning of the day if I'm battling about the same time. If I'm battling at a later time, then maybe they might have come off a cooldown. Or maybe I only need 2 for the next day, but I have to be more selective because I don't have the numbers to just use all my creatures because of the cooldowns that are going to get increased. And that's the same thing for, my Gorgosuchuses. They've got a 3-day cooldown, or real close to 3 days, at level 31. At level 40, they got like a 3-day. Trying to remember. I'm trying to go off of memory now because I'm out in the garage now. It's like a 3.5 day cooldown, maybe almost 4 day cooldown, which is why I need to have more Gorgosuchuses than my Metrophodons or my Cygnasuchuses, because if I want to be able to use 3 a day, I need 9 of these guys, because by the time I go through all 9, the day after that, the first 3 should be coming off of cooldown. And my goal is to be able to level up my creatures, because I don't like spending bucks on cooldowns. Now, can I do it? Yes, I have plenty of bucks, right? Like these 4, 5, 6 hour cooldowns are not going to kill me. And the reason why, so my goal from episode 100 is to get to 9 Gorgosuchuses before I start making any of these moves. And I started thinking about it, and with the instant cooldown now available from the VIP buildings, because I didn't have these when I set these goals. With this building here, my instant recovery lab, I get an extra cooldown every month, or every week, which means that if I need to, speed up one of those Gorgosuchuses, I have the ability to, and that's really where I use it now. I don't use it on my Metrophodons, I don't use it on my Cygnasuchuses, don't use it on my Indoraptors. I have no need to use it there, because I have a depth of creatures big enough that I don't ever need to use all of them. I could use all of them, but I don't need to, meaning that if I really wanted to, like the events that I did on the VIP event, I could have used 3 lower-end creatures instead of 1 strong creature and 2 throwaway. So I have options for most of the events. And really, it's usually like it's a Wednesday event or even a Tuesday event that will usually be a test for my creatures, right? So I call it test day. Tuesday, not going to be hard, as I'm just going to have 1 Fight for Funds event, which is going to have 3 battles. The Monsters of the Deep event is going to be aquatic, so it's going to be a different form. And on that same day, it's really going to be an aquatic test, because it's going to be 4 hard aquatic events for Monsters of the Deep and 5 VIP events. And then for Wednesday, we've got a Cenozoic VIP event, and we've got stakeholders visit and rarity rumble. But sometimes we don't have, sometimes we have like the Tyrannosaurus Gen 2 event, which will be harder, higher end Jurassics mixed in with these events on a Wednesday. Sometimes on Tuesday, it just depends on, the schedule. But every once in a while, you'll have like 12 battles that will sync up, or close to 12, that are all going to use your higher end creatures. So you just got to be careful. And on those days, you're going to want a bench that is very deep. Otherwise, you're going to be, up a creek without a paddle, basically. But all right, so let's take out this guy. So again, I'm using creatures I don't have to use because I don't have any other events that they're going to be used for. So I can do these super overpowered creatures, which makes my events easier, but then I don't have them to be able to use. So like that Olumbia, I think it's got less than a day cooldown. I'm pretty sure it does. Let's see. Let's check out where that Olumbia is. Yeah, so it's 18 hours. So, right, it's going to be available tomorrow if I need it. I don't need to worry about it. But the Apatosauruses have like a 2-day cooldown because of the health. While they've got the same ferocity because they're level 40 VIPs, they do not have the same cooldown. And so you have to be careful about how you're using your creatures and which ones you're using in order to make sure that you don't shoot yourself in the foot, basically. Just the one. Don't need another one. I'll the one shot this first guy. And when we get to the next one, he's not going to do any damage before we be able to reserve enough to take him out. Now, if he attacks here, then we don't have to worry about reserving. There we go. Perfect. About as fast as that event can go. But all these creatures, I don't have to use, right? I don't have to use these higher end creatures. I could use lower end creatures. But since the cooldowns are low enough, it doesn't matter. In fact, so I'll use one Spinosaurus here so you can see the cooldown of what they are at level 30. And we'll use the 31 also, just so that we can see what it is. Except I won't use it here. I'm going to use it, do a speed up for the Infinity Battle. See if we get a pterosaur that we need to use it for. Don't need to do this, but I'm just doing this just because to make it easier. Hopefully he goes for 4. 3 is fine. All right, so he's got 1 left. So with glass cannons, you do have to be careful because if you get your opponent with enough action points, even though they don't got a lot of health or a lot of attack, you don't need a lot of attack to take you out when you're a glass cannon, so you got to be careful about that. That's the one tricky part about using glass cannons so much, is you definitely have to watch out where you are from a ferocity standpoint, for just health and how much attack your opponent has. All right, so this has got a 22-hour, 26-minute cooldown. So if you're battling at the same time every day on a cycle, by the time you get back to it, it's going to be totally cooled down. So it's Monday, which means I'm doing this way earlier than I do on the weekends, which is why some of my creatures are still coming off cooldown, because they, that's just the way that cookie crumbles. I mean, It hasn't been 24 hours since I did my events from yesterday. But typically throughout the week, they are, roughly about the same time each day. So a 24-hour cooldown is not a problem. And you get some speed up, right? So at the end of it, you get kind of a freebie for 5% of the cooldown time. You are not having to worry about your creatures. You can speed them up a little bit early. You don't have to pay for it. So with all that, as far as a conjunction, you don't have to worry too much. All right, so he's got 2 left. There we go. So let's hope he goes for some here. 4. Probably not going to. Alright, so we're just going to go for it because he'd have to be reserving or blocking for all 4. There we go. Which typically they don't want to do because he knows he can't kill me in 4, so he's got to try to get more than 4, which means he can't block for all 4. Ooh, there we go. No bucks, but I'll take the DNA. DNA is what I need. Yes, I know, Spinosaurus. All right, so we're going to speed this guy up, and we're going to see what we have to fight here. Okay, so no pterosaurs, which is fine. But I am going to actually use, instead of a... Let's do a Indoraptor, and we'll see what our cooldown is here on this guy. Indoraptor, and we'll go Cygnasuchus, and then we'll go Metrophodon. Just so we can see what the cooldowns are for, so obviously Metrophodon, 22-hour, 13-minute cooldown, I think is the top one, so it's probably a 22... 30 maybe, might have been 15 minutes since we used the last one. We'll find out here after this battle. And again, the Indoraptor Gen 1 at level 12 is going to have a longer cooldown than what the... Oh, it's going to sit here, huh? Okay. See if he swaps now. There he goes. So he's got 1 left. So we'll do 3 here, just in case he's blocking. There we go. All right, now he's gonna take us out because he's got 3, we've only got 1. It takes 2 to kill us. There we go. We can get our level 31 Cygnasuchus out here. It's the first time I'm using it. Look at that 2-shot, beautiful. Now we could block, and then we could survive whatever attack that the Ankylodochus is going to do, but there's no point because when Indoraptor comes in, if he does enough to kill us, he has no chance of surviving the Indoraptor. And if he doesn't attack us, we have enough to kill him with Cygnasuchus, regardless of what he's doing. There we go. All right, so let's go check out what these cooldowns are. So collect our pack here. Some bucks. There we go. So let's see what our cooldown is on that guy. Yep, so 1 day, 13-hour cooldown for the Cygnasuchus. I believe it's, I can't remember if it's how it shows the hours. But yeah, so it's got a 1 day, 13 hours. Our Indoraptor at level 12 has a 1 day, 2 hours, so just over a day. But by the time it gets to the last 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, it's going to have a free speed up. Probably around 2 hours. So really it's got less than a day, or right around a day cooldown. Do any of these guys have any free 3 hours? No, none of them have come down yet. And Metrophodon, what is its cooldown? Longest one, 22 hours, 35 minutes. Yeah, so, less than a day. Less than a day is really the big point here. And up to level 30, it's got less than a day, because it's got such low health. It's got such high attack. It makes glass cannons are my favorite creatures because they have such a short cooldown compared to their comparative partners. Level 31 Gorgosuchus, less ferocity than Metrophodon, way longer cooldown. 2+ day cooldown. Spinosaurus, level 30, less than a day cooldown, 22 hour-ish cooldown. Indoraptor, 23 hour cooldown, 23 to 24 hour cooldown. So they don't have, and the super hybrids are great because they don't have crazy long cooldowns either. Level 10, but they do have long, they're just not as long. Zomolodon, I think 2 day cooldown, or almost 2 day cooldown. You just got to be careful. You have to weigh in your cooldown time with your creatures. So for instance, Spinosaurus tomorrow, won't be able to use him at the beginning, at least my level 31. I'll have to rely on my level 30s. Again, which is why I have to be careful about how many I fuse. So if I fuse another one, I can use one of these guys a day, one Spinosaurus level 31 a day, because by the next day, it's not going to be done with cooldown. So if I need it, I need another one that I can use. If I need more than 2 in a day, I have to rely on a different creature. So maybe it's an Indoraptor instead of a Spinosaurus to take out a pterosaur. Or maybe it's a Metrophodon. You won't be able to use class advantage. You just got to be careful. You got to be careful. Let's see. Let's do some prize drop stuff here. Let's see what we get. Oh, gosh dang it. Been getting garbage on the prize drop. Haven't gotten the 2 top prizes in forever. Well, not forever. It's been a lot. It's been a while. And typically when I do get it, I'm getting it on the down days, which means, a day like tomorrow, right, where it's just the one creature. And I'm probably not going to get it tomorrow because it's a VIP creature. Probably going to get it, the day after when it's a tournament creature. And not that I, nothing to shake a stick at. I'll take tournament creatures all day long. But I would definitely prefer to have VIP creatures. All right, so let's speed this guy up. Collect him. I'm doing this to I've also stopped fusing. I don't want to say low-end creatures, but I've stopped fusing anything that is Jurassic that is not a tournament creature. I don't want to pick that up yet. I want to put this guy in, yes. And I'm also going to hatch this guy, yes. Putting those guys out there, I don't want to speed them up. But I also don't want them in my market when I go to check the trade harbor. Why? Because I want to hatch them and if their paddock is full, I will sell it for DNA. Because right now my goal is to generate as much DNA as I can. Still got time for those guys. And since the custom trades are no longer guaranteeing rare hybrids, getting maybe one a day, sometimes two, sometimes none. I no longer have the DNA coming in that I did have, and so I can't rely on the custom trades to be generating crazy amounts of DNA anymore. So I need to hatch and sell creatures for DNA. So we're going to do that Dimorphodon. When it hatches, it's not full yet. So 3 more, it'll be full. Once it's full, I will not be fusing and I will just be selling. So if I got another Acrocanthosaurus, when I hatch one out, it will get sold for DNA. When I get another Pterodon after one more, didn't feed him. It will get sold for DNA. I need to generate DNA. That is the most important currency for my game currently, is DNA. Now, bucks are also important to me because I like to speed things up. And so if I do get like a DNA to bucks trade, I'm going to take it. If I get a DNA to Lultipoints trade, I'm going to take it. But any of these other ones, DNA to food, DNA for creatures, depending on the creature, maybe, but not likely. DNA to clock towers, probably, because I have a special place in my heart for clock towers. But for the most part, I need DNA. I was doing almost 150 to like almost 200,000 DNA a week when the custom trades were cooperating, but now it's not happening. So I got to get it someplace else because it's just slowing down my progress. But yeah, so that's where we are. That's update on goals from episode 100. I still got 1.3 million DNA, technically 1.2 because I got 100,000, almost 100,000 DNA now. But chipping away at the Gorgosuchuses. Only have 6 more left I need to get. Again, I'm going to probably go a little bit slower on those. Just depends on the amount of DNA I have and what creatures I can make on Thursday on the discount day. But I'll probably start making Spinosaurus because those are the ones that I really need to start working on if I'm going to start leveling these up to level 31, which is my next piece of this goal. So with that, folks, we're going to call this video a day. You guys stay safe. We have a bracketed tournament this weekend. So we don't know what the brackets are going to be yet, but it's going to be based off of park level. There's going to be 2 brackets or 3 brackets. We'll see what they do. Looks like it's going to be for an aquatic creature, potentially a cave aquatic, or a reef aquatic based on the picture on the weekly schedule. But we'll have to see what those brackets are going to be, what the top bracket's going to be winning. But we will see you guys on that video later on in the week. Until then, stay safe, keep your creatures fed, and we'll catch you on the next video.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. Subscribing to my channel and clicking the notification bell will ensure that you'll be notified as I release videos on the channel. If you found this video helpful, let me know by hitting the like button. If there is something specific you would like a video on in the game, please leave a message in the comment section below on what you would like to see. Again, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next one.